The $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit against Fox News over their coverage of the election, which saw many host platform conspiracy theories involving Dominion voting systems, equipment, as well as Smartmatic. That lawsuit is not going well for the network. Numerous internal emails and text messages showed that Fox hosts and executives had known that the election had not been stolen, had openly mocked people like Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell for their, insane declarations that it was
in Venezuela,
the ghost of Hugo Chavez that was stealing the election for Joe Biden, Donald Trump, all that stuff. And yet, even when they were mocking these people behind the scenes, they were bringing them on their show. And they were allowing guests and other certain hosts, like Maria Bartiromo, for example, to entertain insane conspiracy theories, regardless of the fact that they had known the facts. They just completely disregarded it. Now, new reporting from NPR shows an example of how Fox News actively disregarded a chance to protect themselves against this lawsuit. They had a chance to set things right actively and refused to do so. So here's from the NPR piece. Quote, and this is about, by the way, the Fox host that put this up, that had actually tried to do the right thing to protect the network, obviously, is Bret Baier. So now Baier repeatedly sought to devote an hour-long Sunday evening special following the 2020 elections to set out and debunk the leading myths bolstering Trump's baseless claims of fraud. On Special Report, Baier had addressed many of those individual claims, which had been promoted by Trump and embraced by many of his supporters. Baier told colleagues that he thought that an hour-long treatment would be an important way to show Fox's audience that it was taking their concerns seriously while presenting them with the facts about the election. So, again, pushing back against election fraud while also saying, we understand, doing the Fox News thing of, well, we understand that you think that that there is massive amounts of voter fraud and things like that, and it certainly is possible. But here's what we know from this election: it didn't actually happen. Okay, now how would that have helped Fox News then? Well, it would have helped them with their main defense is we were doing journalism. I know it's laughable to think that Fox News doing journalism, but that's one of their arguments. Now, look, if you're doing journalism, by the way, you can present facts. You can present facts. You're supposed to present facts, but you can also present the arguments from both sides and then go into fact checking those arguments. So, and by the way, it's not a partisan thing, right? Facts are not partisan. Facts are facts. They don't subscribe to an ideology, okay? There's not an ideological tilt to reality, okay? And so, I guess a good example of this is, well, Democrats say that, Biden obviously didn't steal the election. There wasn't massive amounts of voter fraud. And Republicans say that the ghost of Hugo Chavez tried to steal, the election from Biden using these machines. That's what both sides say. And then the facts are, what the Republican side is saying is just not factually correct. There's no evidence of that. By the way, Sidney Powell is a lunatic who received her information from a cactus farmer. I'm not kidding. Who thinks that she talks to the wind. That's a true story, by the way. There's nothing in that I made up.
Wind.
She thinks she talks to the wind. Okay? Yeah. So, now, if you know the facts, if you know factual information, and you're telling your viewers that, something that is not true, things that are false, that are not facts, and you know that by telling them things that are not true, that you are doing harm to another party, in this case, a business, that would be considered malicious. Now, if you have also such gross indifference to the truth as to willfully disregard the harm, the potential harm to the other party. And I'm not talking political parties. I'm talking party as in like an individual or a company, for example. Well, that would be considered malice. So now in Fox News's case, I believe that there's obviously a clear case of indifference. Gross indifference to the truth, which is essentially what I believe should be Fox News's tagline. We're just grossly indifferent to the truth. We don't care that our lies could impact other people, could affect another country. Another country or even a company or our country. Doesn't matter. If we report the truth, and they've admitted this, they know that that's going to hurt their bottom line. Which is why, according to the report, not only did Baier never get approval for his pitch, but Fox executives didn't even respond. Ghosted. Oh, what's that? An email asking if one of our hosts can fact check? Ignore. Trash. Delete. What are you talking about? We'll never, ever do that. What are you talking? Come on. Really? You want us to tell the truth? According to one unnamed Fox executive, they claim, well, look, by the time with everything was moving forward, we were transitioning to cover Biden's first term. It was just past the point of litigating this point any further. Except, no. Because, there was January 6th. Capitol riots, fueled by all these lies, by Donald Trump himself. And look, I'm not saying that Bret Baier doing this fact check special would have stopped any of this, would have stopped the propagation of these lies. No, again, I'm not saying that. I actually doubt it. I'm just saying that when it comes to a legal perspective, I think it would have helped the network and their legal defense by pointing out the fact that, hey, look, Bret Baier, what are you talking about? We greenlit this Bret Baier special for an hour to go and debunk one by one these election lies from Donald Trump, and we aired it. See? I mean, we put out a whole damn special about it. So we were just doing journalism, you see. But the fact is, not only did they not do that, obviously, but there was another time that they had also failed to entertain the idea, where they were going to have, and this was right before this was on the night of, I believe, January 5th. They were going to get Hannity, Ingram, and I think Tucker Carlson together, and put out statements, have like a joint statement of where, hey, we don't believe this stuff. These election lies are unproven, or these claims of voter fraud, election fraud, all that, the Dominion stuff, completely unproven. But they didn't do that. And it shows you that they didn't care about the harm that they were doing. Again, not only to Dominion and Smartmatic, but also to the country at large. And they, of course, did so because bad for the bottom line. If we tell the truth, then we'll lose viewers. Newsmax, they're a big competitor, and there are many emails, by the way, that have been released as a result of this defamation trial, where they've been like, hey, we got to keep an eye on Newsmax. They're taking our viewers. And it's because Newsmax at the time was even more hard right and was diving deep into those election fraud conspiracy theories. Now, some examples, by the way, of some of the internal conversations here, about the bottom line. On a November 9th broadcast, news anchor Neil Cavuto had cut away from a live briefing by White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, warning viewers that she was making unsubstantiated claims of election fraud. Quote, whoa. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue to show this. So now that's an example of Cavuto doing the right thing. I don't agree with Cavuto politically, but he's like, hey, we don't have facts to back that up. So we're not going to air this. Now, senior leadership looked at that and said, whoa, Cavuto. You don't understand. This is what our viewers crave. They want this. And what you're doing right now, cutting away from that, not showing it, and saying that we can't substantiate that, that is a brand threat. You're threatening our brand. Another example is when Fox host Dana Perino speculated that claims put forward by Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell could lead to, ironically, what is happening right now, a lawsuit from Dominion. Fox CEO Suzanne Scott responded by saying the on-air personalities couldn't afford to, quote, give the crazies an inch now. She's, by the way, talking about Giuliani and Trump and all the people that are spouting these, election conspiracy theories, as well as hosts on Newsmax, right? We're not going to give the crazies an inch right now. They're looking for and blowing up all appearances of disrespect to the audience. Now, I happen to think that disrespecting the audience is lying to them. That's much more disrespectful than telling them the truth, even if it hurts to hear, right? Because hey, I understand losing an election sucks. I was there in 2016 where we lost an election to Donald Trump. That hurts. But hey, truth is truth. Doesn't matter. Again, facts don't care about your feelings. What happened? But it turns out a lot of Fox News viewers get a lot of feelings, and they turned away from Fox News, which gave them feelings in their wallet, in their pocketbook. And so they decided, we're not going to push back against the lies. No, we're not at all. We're going to let these people put out these conspiracy theories, this nonsense, so that we can save our ratings. In another message, Scott also noted that the audience feels like we crapped on them and we have damaged their trust and belief in us by telling them facts, by the way. Well, wait, if you saying facts, telling your audience factual information damages their trust in you, well, that means you're admitting that you have lied to them the whole time, that you have been not giving them factual information. What an interesting admission. Quote, we can fix this, but we cannot smirk at our viewers any longer. There are plenty of other examples, but you get the point. All these, excerpts from Dominion's case against Fox News that have come out already, there's tons of them. But the point is, Fox's business model has been built on lying to the audience. So when any of the hosts suggest, hey, why don't we actually tell them the truth for once, at least to, kind of avoid any legal issues here, they say we can't. If we do that, well, we might lose everything. Funny enough, they might still lose quite a bit, not everything. $1.6 billion. That's still a pretty hefty sum for defamation, and that's not including if Smartmatic goes forward with their case. So, ironically, building an entire media operation online to the audience is actually maybe starting to catch up to them. F around and find out, I guess.